Now, as legislators start to look at these various bills, they need to realize, number one, that difference between embryonic and adult stem cells, and be forthright that they do support stem cell research. They support the kind that does not destroy or harm human life, and they support the type that's already benefiting patients now. They also need to look at some of these things that are coming down the road towards us. Biotech industry has moved beyond just using the so-called leftover embryos at fertility clinics, most of which are not actually being thrown away. The vast majority, the parents want to keep them because those are their children. But we're also looking at the ideas of cloning, of creating new human embryos using women's eggs and the nucleus, the DNA from a skin cell, for example, to create new embryos, similar to the way Dolly the sheep was cloned, and then destroy those for research. Human-animal hybrids. In brave New Britain now, there are proposals and actual licenses to go ahead and combine animal eggs with human DNA to make this hybrid type of embryo. Again, supposedly, as the line goes, to benefit medical research, but you're actually creating and destroying life in that instance, and no evidence that that will bear any fruit in the near or even far term for patients. And other ways to create embryos and destroy embryos. There are some bits of good news already present and on the horizon, though. In November of 2007, two researchers, Yamanaka from Japan and James Thompson from the University of Wisconsin-Madison, who, by the way, was the first person to successfully grow human embryonic stem cells in the lab, announced that they could make an embryonic type of stem cell called an iPS cell without using embryos, without using eggs, without using cloning. And there's been an explosion of research in this area just in 10 months, so that there are well over 100 different lines or dishes of human iPS cells that have been created, some specifically from patients with different types of diseases for study, others from normal human beings. All of these, again, without destruction or harm of human life, without using women's eggs and risking their health. And the science is moving far away from life-destroying types of efforts. In fact, we've already seen Ian Wilmot, who was the cloner of Dolly, give up his human cloning license in Great Britain in favor of this research. And recently it was announced that James Thompson at University of Wisconsin-Madison, his companies were turning towards non-embryonic stem cell research. And they're not alone in terms of the scientific community. They're going after the science that is not only ethical, but also much more successful than the life-destroying research. Also recently, researchers at Harvard were able to show that they could directly change one type of adult cell into another without any intervening stem cell or embryo or eggs or cloning. A direct way to try and get to the types of cells that they would like to study in the lab. And then, of course, there are all sorts of adult stem cells already treating thousands and thousands of patients. Patients who are alive today whose health has improved because of adult and cord blood and placental stem cells, where no lives are risked or harmed. It's important that legislators understand this because there will be continual challenges. In the state of Michigan, for example, there's a ballot initiative that would do away with a law to prevent destruction of human embryos for research, despite the fact that they can do human embryonic stem cell research in Michigan, that the money is in the non-embryonic stem cell research, and that's where you're treating patients. There's a push to overturn this law. In the U.S. Congress, there are competing bills that would ban human cloning by Senator Brownback or allow human cloning for experiments by Senators Feinstein and Kennedy. There are bills that would potentially allow growth of human embryos beyond just a few days, called fetus farming. Now, we've been able to pass one bill in the last couple of years to try and stop that type of research. But there will be a continued push, and we've seen that at the national level as well as in the states. There are scientists who want to do the same kind of experiments as has been proposed in Great Britain, to combine animal and human parts and genetics. And so we need to be vigilant, we need to be educating the legislators, and we need to be supporting them and pushing them forward to champion life-saving ethical research and to oppose the life-destroying research. We need to be educated, we need to educate them, and we need to continue to challenge them to actually support good legislation. Thanks very much.
Next, I'd like to introduce Johanna Steele from the American Life League. She has been my partner in this effort and has helped put things together. It definitely takes people working together to get things accomplished, and I'm definitely proud to be working with Johanna. She helps make sure the wheels keep moving on a lot of things, and she's going to help introduce some of the legislation that we're talking about this morning. Johanna.
Thank you, Peter. It's nice that we can have this forum to educate, but we also want to make sure that PLATForum is a tool for pro-life leaders, whether they can actually physically attend this meeting or attend it by distance over the internet, to brainstorm and network and work together on legislation and influencing Congress to put forth, sponsor, support, educate 100% pro-life legislation for the protection of the preborn. We want to be able to also support each other in our programs and our projects that we're doing that may not just be legislative. This is a legislative action team forum, but we want to be able to provide a forum for people to work together, whatever it takes to protect the preborn of our country. I want to invite you to visit Pro-Life Unity's website, American Life League's website. So we'll post other websites of people who are involved in this effort to educate you and also let you know what's going on. But we also want to invite the leaders to work with us and attend and see what we can accomplish.
What we're talking about is that we want to make sure that what's being submitted is 100% pro-life. And when that topic comes up, you either look to us for information when you need to know what it is that's being talked about. We'll have professionals in the field, people who have a good understanding of this, like Dr. David Prentice, and other scientific professionals who will help us understand these things. And then, of course, at the same time, that we will have this ability to disseminate that information then to our leaders, our congressional representatives. This is the kind of thing whose time has come.